In the previous video, what we did was we set up our attributes in preparation to create our block. So we're still in the 12 underscore attributes.dwg file, and you've obviously saved the attributes that you've placed, removed the sacrificial lines that we used for the setting out of the attributes, and we're ready to go now to create the block. So I've gone back to the Home tab on the ribbon. We're going to go to the Layers panel now, and what we're going to do is change our current layer in the layer pull down to SOP metric, so it's a different color. Now the reason we've done that is as soon as we convert this to a block, it will adopt the current layer. So what we've got to do now is create the block itself, and that's the same as the previous section. We're just creating a normal AutoCAD block, but it will have attributes this time. The SOP number is visible, the SOP type is invisible. Now it doesn't show anything like that on the screen, you just know that you've set it up that way. So I'm going to go to the block panel now on the Home tab, and you can see there I've got create, like so. So I'm going to create a new block and I'm going to call it SOP metric. So I might put a dash there, like that. And you can call it what you want, really, I don't mind, but obviously this one's a metric one, so you might have a setting point that is also imperial as well. So you might need to distinguish between the two. So I'm going to pick a point now for the base point, like we did in the previous section. I'm going to use the center or the intersection there. You might get a midpoint snap if your midpoint snap is on. So make sure you use your object snaps for that particular point there. Now, selecting the objects on screen, I'm going to use the Select Objects button here. And I'm going to select everything. So like before in the previous section, click, drag the selection window over everything, including the attributes, and click again. Right click or enter to confirm. Now, you've got the options to retain the original objects, convert to a block, or delete. I'm going to use convert to block this time. The reason being is it will bring up the actual attribute editing dialog box as soon as you convert it to a block, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. Behavior, it's not going to be annotative, but again, make sure you scale uniformly in the X and Y direction, but also make sure you allow exploding. You might need to create a different setting out point, perhaps with a square instead of a circle. So what you can do there is you can explode the block and reuse the attributes and then save it as a block with a different name. And then you've got the block unit, which in my case is millimeters. I'm in a metric drawing, and you can set up a hyperlink, a description, or open it in the block editor if you wish. Make sure that open in block editor is unticked. We don't need it in this case. So I click on OK. And as soon as I create a block, can you see what happens now? I get the edit attribute dialog box. So it's prompting me for the SOP type, which is a circle, and the SOP number, there's the input box, XXX, remember, from the attribute. So I'm going to change the XXX there to SOP001, like so. And I'm going to click on OK and watch what happens to the block. SOP001, notice the circle reference is invisible. So this is now all a block. So if I hover over that, can you see block reference on layer SOP metric? Now, one of the lovely, lovely features of AutoCAD is the enhanced attribute editor, which I love. When you're working with blocks, it makes your life so quick and easy. So I'm going to come in here now. I'm just going to double click on the block and it'll open up the enhanced attribute editor. Now, what I am going to do here is I'm actually going to cancel that. I'm going to zoom out slightly and take this over here to the top right corner by panning. Then I'm going to double click on it, and then I'm going to bring this down here. The reason I'm doing that is I want you to be able to see the changes I'm making here. So you can see now that there's the SOP type, and there's the value down here. So the value is circle. There's the SOP number, and there's the SOP 001 on the drawing itself. I'm going to change that now to 100, like so. And as soon as I do that, it changes it on the block, and I can apply those changes. Now what I can do is I can also change my text options. So if I select that attribute, the SOP 100, not the invisible one, obviously, and go to text options, there's all the options there, and those are the exact same settings that I had when I created the attribute. But more importantly, I can change the properties. So it's on layer 0, that SOP 100, which is fine. Line type is by layer, but I might want to change the color. I might want it to be red, so it stands out on the drawing. I apply that, I OK it, and that's why I love the enhanced attribute editor, because you can go in and change the attributes within a block and make them stand out on a drawing. So that's how you create your block and obviously work with the attributes within the block as well.